Co-founder of IncubateNYC. I'm a Wall Street refugee. I've done private equity and investing in new businesses and small businesses, particularly in the Harlem community, for over 6 years. And because I'm from Texas, I naturally and secretly love Popeye's chicken. So let's put that behind us, because it's true and I don't want anybody to judge me about it, okay? So I'm currently an entrepreneur, but I didn't start out as an entrepreneur. I was a person with a problem. Now, I'm here to talk to you today about innovation. But before we really dig into that, we got to understand what innovation is, right? And I think that, the hardest act today to follow, Hank put it very eloquently. And in my mind, it's about solving problems, right? It's about solving problems in a creative and new way, and figuring out ways to solve those problems, which we all have the capacity to do. So I had a problem. I was trying to start a business. I have experience in healthcare, and I discovered a technology that would enable us doctors and lab testers to spend, instead of several thousands of dollars on lab testing equipment, somewhere in the neighborhood of 300. Really amazing, and to Hank's point, disruptive to jobs. But I didn't know how to start. I didn't know if there was a need for this. I didn't know how to validate it. I didn't know how to build a company around it. I didn't even know what my first steps should be. So naturally, I went out to Google and I started looking for solutions to this problem. And I was like, all right, well, let me see if I can find some help starting a business. So the first thing I turned to were these things called accelerators. Now, accelerators are short programs that bring people together to really work hard on their product and position them to be investable by the masses, bringing in angel investors and seed investors to give you capital so you can actually be successful. Gentlemen on this panel have been products of those types of accelerators. Now, when I looked into it, I said, man, that sounds like a great idea, right? Like, who wouldn't want to spend 3 months in a cool place like Silicon Valley and then, hopefully get like $500,000 or $1 million after that, right? That sounds like an awesome proposition. But then I started to dig into it, and of the top 3 accelerators, the third being Dreaming, the acceptance rate into that program was 3%. For Y Combinator, another top program, it was 2%. And for Techstars, it was 1%. Now, I'm not a math major, but I was like, man, those are tough odds to crack. So I said, there has to be another solution. Let me see what else is out there. So I turned to incubators. Now, incubators are typically physical spaces that people rent desks in, and you get access to sales and investment support, right? You get a lot of help from people who kind of know the industry that you're in. And I looked at that and I said, all right, well, what's going to stand in my way to do that? I had to quit my job, and I wasn't at that point. I unfortunately didn't come from a family where I could just quit and figure it out for 2 years, and my family would help me pay my ridiculously expensive rent, as some of you, respect. The rent's too damn high. So now, it's also, these incubators are also limited by the space within them. So if there's a space with 50 seats, you can only have 50 people in there. That doesn't necessarily mean there can be 50 companies. So again, limited in the capacity that I could serve. And finally, it was focused on later stage companies. Well, I just had an idea and access to technology. Didn't really know if this was actually something that could be viable. And so I wasn't sure I was at the right stage. So then what did I do? I finally looked at programs and I said, all right, well, what's out there for me that could just help me get started and learn and maybe just train me on a few of the skills I needed to be successful at doing this. And I looked into things like the Kaufman Fast Track program, which is a great program and it teaches you a lot of basic fundamentals. You come out of it with a business plan, and as one of my favorite urban poets, Mike Tyson, said, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. So having a plan is great, but I needed a little more. And then I looked into awesome programs like the Founders Institute, which is a really amazing program that takes people who are working and gets them started. But they purport as a success factor less than 40% graduation. So the minute I get in there, their goal isn't necessarily for me to finish the program, which doesn't necessarily fit with what I was trying to do. More importantly, as you can see from the screen, it was a little expensive for me to join. $1,000 while I'm committed to seeing a dream fulfilled is still a lot for me to pony up when I'm still not sure. So here I am, I've looked at accelerators, I've looked at incubators, I've looked at programs. What does all that mean? I saw a ton of solutions, but didn't find one that fit. Now, as I mentioned, innovation is about having a problem and coming up with new and creative ways to solve it. So I started doing research on this basic entrepreneurship, reading about what other people did to make them successful, and I started learning from the teachers that taught them. And I found out all these different principles around lean startup or customer development, and I just heard all these great stories. And some of my friends started coming to me asking me how to start their businesses, and I was like, all right, here, read this, look at this, do these things in this step. And I started to think, it's interesting because there are other people out here that have the same problem I do. So we decided to create IncubateNYC and rethink the way incubators work. We decided to create a program that would be accessible, so that we wouldn't have to turn anybody away. That would give people the right skills and training and experience and frame of mind to go forth and start failing so that they can fix it faster and get to success faster. And we made it accessible so that you can be anywhere and do it, and that you can become a participant and see yourself be successful in small ways and grow those small ways into bigger ways. We had a problem, and we decided to solve it, and it ended up being something that could be interesting to people. We've already helped 50 people start their companies, some of whom have gotten funded, some of whom have gotten repeat business. These are people who are now in business for themselves, who can become entrepreneurs and sustain their families and hopefully change the world. But it starts with having that problem and solving it in a way that is unique and different. So why does all that matter? I know it's a great story, and it was a little bit of a shameless plug, and I know I'm wearing my own company's t-shirt, so bear with me. But again, I know I've repeated this a few times, but innovation starts by problem solving. Harlem, as we all know, has been one of the creative centers of the entire world. There are two neighborhoods that are most well-known in all over the world, Beverly Hills and Harlem. Why is that? Because we have creativity here. We have some of the most innovative minds here. Now, we also know we have a lot of problems, right? Like, there are problems that we deal with every day, from just finding healthy food, to dealing with the healthcare system, to finding good ways to access capital in this neighborhood. Now, we all have these problems. Imagine a world if the people in this room, the people in this neighborhood, the people in this city started thinking, I have these damn problems. What if I could solve them? What if I started to try out new ways to solve them? Wouldn't it be amazing if one person in this room decided to find a solution to a problem they had? And wouldn't it be amazing if everybody else in this room had that same problem? Apple did it. Facebook did it. Why can't you? So the last thing that I'll encourage you to do is just, if you have a problem, create a solution to solve it. Even if it's not the right one, even if it's not the different one, eventually you'll find the right one, and you can change the world too. Thank you.